Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Today we'll discuss about the xenobiotics. The objectives of this module are what are xenobiotics, what are the different types of xenobiotics based on their nature, the metabolism of xenobiotics, that how they get transformed in the nature, and the hazardous effects caused by the xenobiotics. First of all, what are xenobiotics? Xeno means foreign and biota means life. So xenobiotics are the foreign chemical substances that are present inside an organism. They are not produced by an organism, or they are not expected to be synthesized inside a body. Especially drugs such as antibiotics, they are considered as xenobiotics inside the human body because a human body cannot synthesize the antibiotic. Xenobiotics are of two types, exogenous and the endogenous type. Exogenous xenobiotics means they are not ingested directly by the organism, but they get their entry through food additives such as in the form of drugs, in the form of medicines. The organism is not directly in contact with the xenobiotics, but through different pathways the xenobiotics get ingested inside the body of an organism. Example of exogenous xenobiotic is medicines, environmental pollutants such as pesticides, which may get their entry inside a human body or any organisms through different routes, such as by bioaccumulating and biomagnification of the chemical substances. The second one is endogenous xenobiotics. The endogenous xenobiotics are totally different from the exogenous xenobiotics, but they have the similar effect as of exogenous xenobiotics. These endogenous xenobiotics are synthesized inside the organisms. For example, bile salts, bilirubins, etc. Now we'll discuss about the kinds of recalcitrant xenobiotics. Recalcitrant xenobiotics are of 5 types: halocarbons, polychlorinated biphenyls, synthetic polymers, alkyl benzyl sulfonates, and oil mixtures. We'll discuss all of them one by one. First one is halocarbons. In halocarbons, halogen is used in diverse amount. Halogen means the chlorine, bromine, fluorine, and the iodine is used instead of hydrogen atoms. The halocarbons are used as propellants in spray cans of cosmetics, paints, etc. And they are also used as solvents such as chloroform. Halocarbons are also used in condenser units of cooling systems in the form of freons. Chloroform and freons, which are basically volatile in nature and released in the atmosphere, where they devastate protective ozone layer that leads to the increased UV radiation. The next is polychlorinated biphenyls, that is PCBs. In PCBs, they are the complexes that are covalently linked with 2 benzene rings, and they are having halogen in place of hydrogen. They are basically utilized as a coolants in transformer or as exchange fluids for heat. The next is synthetic polymers. Synthetic polymers, or we can call them as human-made polymers. The best example of synthetic polymer is nylon, polyvinyl chloride, and polypropylene. Synthetic polymers consist of repeated structural units of single monomer. If we discuss about polythene, polythene is the simplest form of polymer. It has ethylene as a monomer unit. Now next is the alkyl benzyl sulfonates. Alkyl benzyl sulfonates are the surface active detergents that are superior as compared to soaps, but they are regarded as a hard detergents due to their resistance to biological degradation. They are not easily biologically degraded, or we can say they are not easily biodegraded, because they are very hard in nature as compared to the normal soaps. Alkyl benzyl sulfonate cause persistent foam in sewage treatment plants, streams, and rivers, and they create many of environmental problems. The next is oil mixture. Oil is also considered as a recalcitrant xenobiotics because it is not soluble in water due to the lethal nature of some of its compounds. Its biodegradation is not very easy. When there is a small spillage, oil spillage, then biodegradation, we can use biodegradation process to remove them from the environment, but when large spill occur, these complexes become recalcitrant in nature and they are very hard to remove from the environment. Now next is the metabolism of xenobiotics. Xenobiotics can be converted from its toxic nature to less toxic form by different ways. One of them is biodegradation. In biodegradation, what happened that microorganism on a constant exposure to xenobiotic, they develop the capability to degrade the xenobiotic, and the mutations that occur in the microorganisms, or the modification of genes in the microorganism, in order that the active site of enzyme is altered to show some enhanced affinity for the xenobiotics, so that microorganism can be used as a biodegrading agent for the removal of xenobiotic or for the conversion of xenobiotic from a toxic form to less toxic form. If we talk about the biodegradation is a process that involves the breakdown of organic compounds by microorganisms. The end product of biodegradation is always carbon dioxide, water, and the oxides of mineral salts or the other elements, or the complex form to less complex compounds. Now there are certain requirements for biodegrading xenobiotics. Only under these conditions a microorganism is capable of converting the xenobiotic or the foreign chemical substance into a less toxic form. The first one is the availability of xenobiotic complex to microorganism. Sometimes compounds may get absorbed to particulate matter in the soil, therefore they prevent the potential microbial attack. If a compound is not exposed to microorganism, it will be difficult for a microorganism to destroy or to degrade that xenobiotic compound into another form. Second one is entry of a compound into an organisms. Absence of suitable extracellular enzymes and lack of penetration results in compound being resistant to biological degradation. Next is induction of catabolic enzymes. The xenobiotic compounds work as a substrate or induce the synthesis of degradative enzyme for complete degradation of toxic compound. So it is necessary for a microorganism to use the xenobiotic compound as a substrate, and the microorganism use xenobiotic as a substrate, and there will be a production of enzyme which will be capable of converting the particular type of compound into another form. For example, you can say for the catalysis of reaction, enzymes are needed. So similar the case is here, that the induction of catabolic enzyme is must. The next is aerobic or anaerobic environments. Aerobic or anoxic environment can build up some compounds that could be degraded by different conditions. Next is the biotransformation detoxification reaction. After biodegradation takes place in two steps, either a biotransformation reaction or biomineralization reaction. All the biochemical reactions involved in the conversion of foreign toxic and water insoluble molecules to non-toxic and water soluble form are called detoxification or biotransformation reaction. The overall purpose of this two-phase of metabolism of xenobiotic is to increase their water solubility. The xenobiotics are lipophilic in nature. The overall purpose of two phases of metabolism of xenobiotic is to increase their water solubility, means their polarity, and thus excretion from the body. Xenobiotics are of lipophilic nature. They are fat and lipid soluble. In certain situations, these reactions may instead increase the toxicity of foreign compound, and then these reactions are called endotoxification reaction instead of detoxification reaction. Biotransformation of xenobiotics reaction. The biotransformation reaction occur by two phases of reaction, the phase 1 reactions and phase 2 reaction. Phase 1 reaction alter the xenobiotic complex from lipophilic to polar so as to introduce one of the following groups in the initial compound, such as hydroxyl group, carboxyl group, or thiol group. Phase 1 reaction, they are of three types: oxidation, reduction, and hydrolysis. We'll discuss about the oxidation reaction. A large number of foreign substances are destroyed by oxidation in the body. In the oxidation reaction, if we talk about methyl group, for example, methyl group is oxidized to acid through formation of alcohol and aldehydes. ethanol is converted to acetic acid, methanol is converted to formic acid, benzaldehyde is converted to benzoic acid by the oxidation of these groups. Then the reduction reaction. Reduction reaction take place in azo and nitro compounds. It is supported by anaerobic condition that most commonly occur in the mammalian tissue. The nitro reduction and the azo reduction reaction, in these reactions the enzymes involved are nitroreductase and azoreductase respectively. There are two types of reductions in which the nitro reduction involves in the nitro reduction, three important enzyme systems are involved. One is cytochrome 450, the other one is NADPH quinone oxidoreductase system, and the third one is bacterial intestinal enzymes. Reduction of nitro compounds, if we talk about p-nitrobenzene, after the reduction with the help of enzyme nitroreductase, nitrobenzene is converted to p-aminobenzene and p-nitrophenol is converted to p-aminophenol. The third one is hydrolysis. Hydrolysis is a process of breakdown of any bond in the molecule using water. Hydrolytic enzymes are involved in biotransformation of xenobiotics through hydrolysis. Substrates that are involved in hydrolysis are phosphate ester, carboxylic acid ester, amides and epoxide. Similarly, the enzymes involved, if the substrate is phosphate ester, the enzyme involved is phosphoesterase. If the substrate is epoxide, then the enzyme used is the role of enzyme which plays an important role is epoxide hydrolase. Most of the enzymes are present in the microsome or in the cytosol, while the product formed at the end is always a transhydroxyls. These are we talk about the phase 1 reaction. Now we'll study about the phase 2 reaction. Phase 2 reaction involves the conversion of the substrate. Here is either the phase 1 metabolite or the parent xenobiotic compound. The parent xenobiotic compound or the phase 1 metabolite which contain a suitable reaction undergo the conjugation reaction with the substrate to yield conjugates. Conjugation is a process by which a foreign molecule and their metabolites are coupled with the conjugating agent and are converted to soluble non-toxic derivatives which are easily excreted in urine. Phase 2 reactions are of 5 types. One is glucuronidation, sulfation, acetylation, methylation and conjugation with amino acids. We'll discuss all of them one by one. The first one, in the glucuronidation, the most frequent conjugation reaction, the reaction characteristics are that the low affinity, high capability for catalysis and availability of proficient substrate conjugation. The enzyme that is utilized in this reaction is gluconosyryl transferase, that is UGT and UDP. The second one is sulfation. In sulfation, the reaction characteristics are high affinity, little capability for catalysis and availability of competent substrate conjugation at low substrate concentration. Second is sulfation. The reaction characteristics are high affinity, little capability for catalysis and availability of competent substrate conjugation at low substrate concentration. The sulfate donor, because it's a sulfation reaction, the sulfate is used as a donor and the sulfate donor is adenosine 3-phosphate 5-phosphosulfate, that is PAPS. It is called as active sulfate. The enzyme used here is sulfotransferase. The major subfamilies of these cytosolic sulfotransferase enzyme includes SULT1, 2 and 3. The end product released after sulfate conjugation involves the transfer of sulfonate, not the sulfate, from PAPS to xenobiotic. The next one is glutathione conjugation. Substrates that are involved in glutathione conjugation comprises a vast array of electrophilic xenobiotic. Electrophile they have the tendency to attract an electron, or xenobiotics to be transformed into electrophile are used as a substrate here. To act as a substrate for glutathione S transferase, the enzyme involved in this reaction, the compound should exhibit three general features. One, it should be of hydrophilic nature, should be of electrophilic nature, and it should react non-enzymatically with glutathione at a compatible rate. Then next is acetylation. Two types of acetylation reaction occur. One involves xenobiotic compound and an active conjugate intermediate, that is acetyl-CoA. This reaction is called acetylation. Here acetylation is represented as X plus acetyl-CoA converted to acetyl X plus CoA, where X is a xenobiotic and acetyl-CoA is the active donor. The end product is that the xenobiotic got attached to the acetyl group and CoA is related as a active donor. Compounds conjugated by acetylation are sulfonamide, PABA, that is para-aminobenzoic acid, and isomazide. The fifth one is methylation. Methylation is ordinary but usually insignificant pathway of xenobiotic metabolism. It is very limited in the body. The methyl group donor here is S-adenosylmethionine, which is from which active methionine group act as a methyl group donor. The reactions are called as transmethylation reactions, and the enzyme that catalyze the methylation reaction are methyltransferase. The compounds conjugated by methylation are nicotinamide, p-methylaminoazobenzene. In case of nicotinamide is converted to N-methylnicotinamide by the addition of a methyl group, and in case of p-methylaminoazobenzene, it is converted to p-dimethylaminoazobenzene by the addition of methyl group. This table shows a summary of phase 2 reaction, the 5 type of reaction that we have discussed, the type of conjugation reaction, that is sulfation, acetylation, methylation, and the endogenous reactant, the active group that is involved in the conjugation reaction, and the type of substrate on which these reactions take place by the action of different various enzymes, and the end products. The hazards, next is hazards caused by the xenobiotic compounds. They are identified to cause health hazards to mankind in various ways, like skin problems. They disrupt the reproductive system and even may be the cause of triggering cancer. These compounds have property of bioaccumulation or biomagnification, as they are persistent and remain in environment for many years. They are also found in food chains, and the concentration was found to be exceptionally high even in the organism that are not in the direct contact of xenobiotics. The effect of xenobiotics on aquatic system. Aquatic organisms are particularly important targets as they are exposed through wastewater residues over their entire life. Pharmaceuticals after their application in the indigenous form are excreted or else as metabolites and penetrate the marine life through diverse pathways. They may also enter the marine system through fertilizer application in field and then through runoff, or they are directly applied during fish farming. They inhibit the plankton growth and photosynthesis, affecting the food chain. We can conclude from this module that we discuss about the xenobiotics, the different types of xenobiotics and their metabolism. We talked about the xenobiotics, that xenobiotics are the chemical substances that are foreign to a microorganism. They are not produced inside the organism. Then we talk about the types of xenobiotics, that they are of two types, exogenous type and the endogenous types. In case of humans, drugs, especially antibiotics, they act as a xenobiotic because they are not produced inside the human body. Then we talk about their nature, that xenobiotics are of lipophilic nature. They are lipid and fat soluble. They are highly resistant in nature. They are completely stable. Then we talk about their biotransformation reactions, that the metabolism, how these xenobiotics are transformed into less toxic forms. We discuss about the two-phase reactions, that phase 1 reaction comprises oxidation, reduction and hydrolysis, and the phase 2 reaction, the 5 different types: methylation, acetylation, sulfation, etc. Then we discussed about the hazardous effects of xenobiotics. Xenobiotics have various hazardous effects. They have a negative effect on human life because they are completely stable and they are lipid soluble. They may get accumulate inside the body and biomagnified through the life cycle of a food chain, or through the life cycle or through food chain. They have a negative effect on the aquatic life. They found to be suppress the plankton growth. Thank you.